que c'est doux. Zooby, zooby, zoo.
Happy birthday, baby.
Okay, just a heads up. I'm going to be simping hard in this section. Megan is one of my favorite characters in Mad Men, but surprisingly, a lot of fans don't like her. Or at least they don't consider her to be a major part of the show, the way that other characters like Betty or Joan are. The consensus seems to be that she was just a passing phase for Don, not a true love for him. Even Jon Hamm seemed to forget about Megan when looking back on the series.
And Don gets to kind of have closure with the three women in his life, and Sally and Peggy and Betty, and it's a real...
Now, I don't agree with this assessment. I think Megan is a critical part of the show, and a character worthy of examination. But I understand why Megan isn't considered as highly as the other major characters, and we'll talk about some of the reasons for that later. But for now, let's take a look at her character.
You know I don't want you to fail.
Good. Because I'm not going to.
Megan Calvé is the second wife of Don. She's introduced in season 4 as one of the new secretaries at Sterling Cooper. Her introduction is actually very sneaky. She's presented as a background character, similar to how we would see other non-important secretaries like Hildy or Allison, which is exactly the point of her character.
Maybe I should have kept her at reception.
Her relationship to Don is supposed to be a surprise. During season 4, Dawn enters into a relationship with Dr. Faye Miller. Faye is basically the perfect partner for Dawn. She's an age-appropriate professional woman who understands people the same way that he does.
I know the holidays are hard in your situation, but don't worry. You'll be married again in a year.
What?
I'm sorry. I always forget. Nobody wants to think they're a type.
However, Faye wants Dawn to confront his identity issues directly and admit to who he really is. This is what Dawn needs to do in order to grow as a person and actually get over his issues instead of running away from them. However, he doesn't want to do that. He wants to keep the comforting lie of Don Draper going, and thus he turns to Megan, who looks at him the way he wants to be seen.
I feel like myself when I'm with you, but the way I always wanted to feel.
There's a reason the episode where Dawn and Megan suddenly and unexpectedly get engaged is called Tomorrowland. If you've never been to Disneyland in California, Tomorrowland is a section of the park dedicated to the idealization of the future. It's what Walt Disney imagined a technology would lead to, a kind of futurist, space-age utopia. Now, we of course know that this idealization didn't end up happening, but their relationship is just like the facade at Disneyland. It's a comforting lie instead of a cold truth.
What about Tomorrowland? I don't want to ride an elephant. I want to fly a jet.
Now, that's not to say that this is the only reason that Dawn falls for Megan. There is a lot to love about this girl. Not only is she stunningly beautiful, she's also an incredibly kind and easygoing person. She's artistic and intelligent, and when we're first introduced to her, she's almost perfect in a way.
Don't be upset. It's just a milkshake. I can grab a straw or some napkins. This is my last dress.
Megan represents the ideals of the 1960s. Up until now, we've only seen the ugly side of the hippie movement. Unwashed bums and drug addicts. But Megan embodies the other side, the free-spirited and artistic idealism of the era. She's not an angry pretender using the movement as an identity. She's just happy and free, which is intoxicating compared to what we've seen of life in the 1960s so far.
Let's be clear. I'm not gonna run out of here crying tomorrow. I just want you right now.
But this free-spiritedness is exactly what starts the decline in her marriage with Dawn. Megan is outgoing and uninhibited, the exact opposite of the closed-off Don Draper. This is what the infamous Zooby Zoo scene is all about. It's not just that Don is embarrassed that all his co-workers, whom he keeps at an arm's length, got to see his wife in a very intimate light. It's that he realized for the first time that he can't control Megan the way that he could Betty.
Don't waste money on things like that.
It was my money, and you don't get to decide what I do with it.
Well, could you please not use it to embarrass me again?
Control is the running theme of their relationship in season 5 and 6. Don is in a position of power over Megan, both from his age and the fact that he's literally her boss. That's not to say that Megan was coerced or anything, as she's genuinely happy in a relationship. It's just that consciously or not, Dawn likes the control that he has over her, and as she finds her independence more and more, it fractures their relationship.
Get in the car, eat ice cream, leave work, take off your dress. Yes, master. Don't you dare pull away! I'm talking to you!
After Megan realizes that she wants to be an actress, she quits Sterling Cooper. And Megan's acting career bothers Dawn. Not just because she has to kiss other men, or the fact that she's no longer at his beck and call, but deeper than that, her rejection of advertising is, at least to Dawn, a rejection of him as well.
Well, no one's made a stronger stand against advertising than you.
However, there is something we should correct. A lot of people interpret Dawn cheating on Megan at the end of season 5 as payback for her choosing acting over him. However, I don't see it that way. Megan's mother told Dawn that all he had to do was wait for Megan to fail becoming an actress, and then she would accept her role as his devoted wife.
Take my advice. Nurse her through this defeat, and you shall have the life you desire.
However, Dawn chooses to help Megan get her first role instead of keeping her to himself. This act sets her on a course of independence from him, and him going back to his cheating is sort of a way of letting her go. However, this letting go is exactly why I feel that people don't take Megan as seriously as the other female characters. She sort of disappears from the narrative in season 6 as Dawn is focused on his affair with his neighbor Sylvia. She naively just waits as Dawn grows increasingly emotionally distant. Her diminished role this season is part of the narrative of Dawn's isolation and decline, but this, along with her storyline next season, are why she doesn't feel as impactful as the other characters.
I don't know where you've gone, but I'm here. I keep trying to make things the way they used to be, but I don't know how.
In season 7, Megan is a struggling actress living in Hollywood. Although Dawn visits her on occasion, it's clear that their relationship is falling apart as they grow ever more distant. Eventually, they just agree to get divorced. Megan only appears in about 6 out of the 14 episodes this season, again contributing to her lack of a presence in the series. And Megan's character arc this season is also another reason why some fans don't like her. Megan goes from a free-spirited and kind person to a bitter failed actress. She even acts very uncharacteristically when she gets jealous of Stephanie and lies to get her away from Dawn. And while these actions are believable from a plot perspective, it's never felt authentic to me.
It's sunny here for everyone but me. I'm walking around in a cloud of no.
The series has this thing about the way that it portrays certain characters. Harry Crane goes through the same thing, where after he gets involved with Hollywood, he becomes a complete douchebag. And while yes, that does certainly happen in real life, it doesn't feel natural to me. Harry's turn to a heel feels more like an inside joke about Hollywood on the part of the writers, rather than a natural progression of his character. And I feel the same way about Megan. The way that she's presented in her final episode just doesn't feel real to me. Again, it's understandable how everything she went through would make her jaded and cynical, but it felt too simple and forced to me. Peggy went through a lot and changes over the course of the show, but retains a lot of her core innocence and kindness. The same is true of Joan and Betty. But for some reason, Megan alone is portrayed in a really negative light in her last episode, and I don't really understand why.
Why did I believe the things you said to me? Why am I being punished for being young?
However, it's probably due to the fact that Megan was originally supposed to have another storyline in the final season. However, they ended up not doing it for some reason, and this lack of a real resolution to her character is what really hurts her in the eyes of most fans. Just like the rest of the show, Megan's character drew the short end of the stick so that other characters could shine instead.
I thought that Megan was going to have one more story. We had a little thing for her when Dawn was in the California at the end, was near California. And I realized, and the room told me, they're like, this is Jessica's last episode.
Again, I know I'm simping hard for Megan here. If you know me, you know that I can't help but really feel for characters like her or Adriana from The Sopranos. Innocent characters who really don't deserve the treatment they get from the characters in the show or from the fans in real life.
I'm your wife. Stop pushing me away with both hands.
Of course, just like Adriana, I know there's going to be some of you who think that Megan is not innocent. A lot of fans think that Megan was just a gold digger who used Dawn to fund her life as an actress, an interpretation that's furthered by the fact that characters in-universe think this as well.
She's going to be a failing actress with a rich husband.
However, I don't agree. I don't think there's anything in the show to suggest that Megan had a plan for her relationship with Dawn. Yes, she did seduce him in Chinese Wall, but that seemed to be more for her own attraction than an attempt to lure him into marriage. And as I stated, the marriage coming out of nowhere is the entire point of the episode, and it's just as much a surprise for Megan as it is for us, the audience.
I don't know what to say. This is all so fast.
Megan really was just a nice girl. She was sweet, intelligent, and artistic, living her life freely and without toxicity. She got caught up in the bitter, jaded world of Madison Avenue, and it, along with some poor writing choices, ruined her as a character. But we should remember that at her core, Megan was one of the beautiful girls, in every sense of the word.
No, I think she's good at everything. I think she's just one of those girls.